In the heart of Milan's ice arena, Alysa Liu, the last contender among a global elite, took her place on the ice and did the unthinkable. A single breath escaped her lips. For most Olympic figure skaters, the moments leading up to the free skate are an abyss of pure dread. Competitors are often seen walking in tight circles, murmuring desperate pleas, or gazing into nothingness. Yet, as the first chords of her Lady Gaga anthem, Edge of Glory, reverberated through the arena, Alysa Liu seemed utterly at home. The flawless, frozen facade of an ice princess was nowhere to be seen. No forced grin graced her face. Instead, a 20-year-old with raccoon-streaked hair stood poised, ready to declare the sport's ancient dogmas obsolete. What unfolded next was a symphony of contemporary rebellion. This was about more than simply landing jumps. She executed each one with a ferocious precision that shattered the doubts of every critic who claimed a 2-year hiatus had dulled her edge for the Olympic stage. As the music reached its crescendo and Alysa hit her final iconic stance, the entire stadium erupted with a roar unlike any Milan had witnessed during the games. Then the numbers appeared on the giant screen, and the impossible truth became undeniable. Alysa Liu had achieved the unimaginable. She had dethroned the dominant Japanese world champions. A 24-year quest for gold for American women was finally over. Yet, transcending all that, she had just concluded the most unlikely comeback story the Winter Olympics had ever witnessed. This victory meant more than a gold medal for a nation. It was a triumph for the young woman who once abandoned her dream because the pressure was suffocating her. To truly grasp the weight of this moment, you must know the 16-year-old who turned her back on everything. Long before she became Milan's renegade champion, Alysa Liu was the meticulously crafted product of America's skating machine. At just 13, she had already shattered records, claiming the title of the youngest United States national champion in history. It was well known that her father had poured more than $1 million into her training before she had even hit her teenage years. She made history as the first American female skater to execute both a triple axel and a quadruple jump within a single routine. In theory, she was a prodigy, but behind the scenes, she was trapped by the very triumphs that defined her. According to reports from the BBC and The Guardian, Alysa's formative years in the sport were governed by an unrelenting, almost robotic demand for flawlessness. Her existence revolved around 5 a.m., alarms and lessons learned from the backseat of a moving vehicle. By the Beijing 2022 Olympics, the carefully constructed ice princess persona was beginning to shatter. She would later confess in startlingly candid interviews that as the world watched her secure a commendable 6th place in Beijing, she was privately ticking off the seconds until her escape. In a now-famous quote, she confessed she had grown to despise skating. Her objective in China wasn't a spot on the winner's stand. She was looking for the door. In her mind, the sport had robbed her of a normal youth, leaving only a ledger of points in its place. And so, a mere few weeks after the 2022 season concluded, the 16-year-old prodigy made an unimaginable choice. She walked away. Her skates were tossed into the darkness of a closet, she announced her departure to the world, and then she simply vanished into an ordinary existence. The consensus among pundits was that her chapter was closed. It seemed a textbook example of burnout. For 2 full years, Alysa Liu stayed completely off the ice. Instead, she embraced the world outside the rink. She became a psychology major at UCLA, immersing herself in the campus life that her isolated upbringing had always forbidden. She journeyed to the base camp of Mount Everest, inhaling the rarefied mountain air instead of the cold, recycled atmosphere of a skating rink. She explored open roads with companions who couldn't distinguish a Lutz from a Salchow. Throughout this hiatus, she took back ownership of her own body. The world of figure skating is notoriously fixated on a particular, conventional image. Alysa shattered that mold completely. She boldly streaked her hair like a raccoon, added piercings, and cultivated an aesthetic that screamed alt-rock over classical poise. Her life was now her own, a world removed from the scrutiny of a judge's panel. Yet, in an interview with CNN, she revealed an unforeseen discovery from her time in the real world. It was never the skating she despised, but the suffocating system built around it. Liberated from the constant pressure, she found herself yearning for the rush of wind against her skin and the pure chemical thrill of gliding at high speed. Early in 2024, she quietly put on her skates, testing the ice to see if the magic remained. It did, and in that moment, she made a solemn vow. Any return to the sport would be entirely on her own conditions. She would choose her costumes, her music, and her own expression. On that unassuming public ice, miles from the glare of Olympic lights, the renegade champion was forged. When Alysa Liu declared she was returning for the 2026 season, the figure skating community met the news with deep suspicion. Her newfound sense of calm was something they simply couldn't comprehend. Her habit of bringing anime toys to major events or her ability to laugh off a stumble baffled them. But Alysa now possessed a strength she never had as a girl, a genuine support network. She forged a powerful connection with her teammates Amber Glenn and Isabeau Levito, creating a trio that dubbed themselves the Blade Angels. For once, Alysa wasn't a solitary figure bearing the hopes of a nation. She was a member of a true sisterhood. This unbreakable bond was forged earlier in the Milano Cortina games, when the Blade Angels spearheaded Team USA's charge to a consecutive gold in the team competition. Alysa's skate in that event was a stunning prophecy of what the individual final would hold. She was utterly fearless, profoundly expressive, and technically immaculate. In a now-famous moment, when her gold medal actually broke from its ribbon mid-celebration, Alysa simply roared with laughter, denting the prize even more and declaring she liked it better that way. This embrace of imperfect triumph was the very source of her mental invincibility. As her rivals became consumed by the overwhelming stakes, Alysa simply saw the Olympics as her personal stage. She had already experienced failure in the eyes of the sport when she retired at 16, and she had survived it. She understood that a gold, a bronze, or even last place could never diminish her value as a person. That single revelation gave her a psychological advantage that no amount of physical training could ever bestow. The individual free skate in Milan served as the grand culmination of her new worldview. Alysa made the audacious choice to perform to a Lady Gaga medley, featuring the anthems Edge of Glory and Applause. Her selection was a world away from the solemn orchestral compositions that typically dominate Olympic finals. An analysis of her performance revealed a masterclass in calculated efficiency. She steered clear of the punishing quads that had once ravaged her body. Instead, she dedicated her entire focus to the quality of her execution. Every single jump was landed with a seamless flow that earned her a cascade of bonus points from the judges. Her spins were impeccably centered, her footwork was a tapestry of intricate design, and her component scores for pure artistry reached the highest point of her career. But the true enchantment was unfolding in the spaces between the technical elements. In the moments between her soaring jumps, Alysa was connecting with the entire arena. She was performing for the people, not for a panel of judges. The BBC remarked that she looked as if she were having the absolute time of her life, a turn of phrase almost never used to describe the pressure cooker of an Olympic final. Minutes before her defining skate, while her rivals were lost in a tunnel of anxiety, Alysa was spotted calmly enjoying a bowl of udon and talking with her coaches about an anime series she was into. This profoundly untroubled demeanor was her greatest weapon. She had discovered how to be the planet's premier athlete without letting that title devour her very soul. When the final booming chords of Gaga's anthem faded, the outcome seemed preordained. The Oopsie Queen had officially become the Olympic Queen. With this single gleaming gold medal, Alysa Liu has definitively broken the Sarah Hughes curse. Before this night in Milan, an American woman had not secured an individual Olympic gold in figure skating since Sarah Hughes's victory in 2002. For more than 20 years, the U.S. program had languished in the long shadows cast by the Russian and Japanese juggernauts. But Alysa's victory was not achieved by emulating the systems that had controlled the sport for the past 2 decades. She did not win with punishing overtraining or robotic perfection. She won by being the most wonderfully human soul on the ice. The Guardian noted that her triumph signifies a deep, fundamental change in the sport's entire operating philosophy. It stands as proof that career longevity and mental wellness are not just optional extras, they are decisive technical advantages. Her gold medal sends a powerful signal to every young skater feeling the same suffocation she endured at 16. It tells them that you are allowed to walk away. It promises them a life beyond the rink's walls. It declares that your identity is not interwoven with the rotation of your axel jump. The United States Figure Skating Federation, an organization that once considered Alysa a project, now considers her a savior. Yet Alysa's humility remains untouched. She revealed to CNN after the ceremony that the best part of her night wasn't even the gold medal. It was knowing that she could celebrate her victory with her friends, and then go out for some pizza. She stands as the first genuinely relatable greatest of all time in figure skating's long history. Success for Alysa Liu in Milan was never about the piece of metal around her neck. It was about the personal freedom she had fought to reclaim. She demonstrated to the entire world that greatness isn't defined by how much you can endure. It's defined by how much you can choose. She chose to leave the sport. She chose to return. She chose her defiant music. She chose her signature raccoon hair. And in the end, the judges chose her back. She stood on that podium in the center of Italy, watching the American flag rise in her honor. And she didn't resemble a machine that had been painstakingly polished for this moment. She resembled a young woman who had experienced 1,000 lives in her 20 years and had finally found the one that was hers. Alysa Liu did more than just capture a gold medal. She captured her life back. She proved that the most stunning move one can make on the ice isn't a quad. It is the unwavering decision to be yourself, no matter what the world demands you to be. The 2026 Games will be remembered for a great many things, but it is the legend of the Rebel Queen that will reshape the sport for all time. Milan now belongs to her. The great drought is finally over, and Alysa Liu is right where she chose to be.